Why does that make us react as opposed to respond? Because we believe that people should be able to see what we can see. We expect people to share the same vision as us when they don't even have it for themselves yet. So what do we need to do? Welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm going to be discussing emotional intelligence, specifically how you can respond to a situation as opposed to react to it. A big scenario that can be put into place when it comes to your level of emotional intelligence and whether you are reacting to a situation or responding to it is typically when other people are involved. So an example of this, whether you are a leader in business, you're in a relationship, or you simply are trying to lead yourself. In these situations, we can then go out and blame other people for the way we're feeling as opposed to taking the responsibility upon ourselves. Now, I'm going to give you a scenario where you may see this happen. For example, you could have a friend that wants to get into the gym, they're out of shape, you're consistent in the gym, and you're saying to them, if you apply X, Y, and Z, here's the results that you will get. You are speaking as an authoritative figure. You are speaking of someone who is talking from experience as opposed to just theory. You know that if this person applies the information you provide them, then they are going to see the necessary changes that they claim they want to see in their life. Now, if you give your friend this advice, and you ask them, how's the gym going? Are you coming to the gym today? And they text you saying, I'm not really in the mood, I can't be bothered. They're giving you all these excuses. That can then trigger a level of frustration inside of you because you're thinking, if this person just listened to me, then they would get the result they're claiming they want. And you can then take the authority away from them, and you are taking the responsibility of change away from them, and you're putting it onto yourself when they haven't asked you to do that. Now, how we can see things happen in these kinds of scenarios is most people, if they have a low level of emotional intelligence, a low EQ, they're going to react in a state of frustration. And they're going to be telling this friend why they need to be listening to them, why you should listen to me, why you should change. And that can be from a subconscious point of almost ego, where it's like, listen, I have the results you want. So if you pay attention, you are going to get there. You should listen to me because I know what I'm talking about. And that can come from a place of low emotional intelligence. And we can see this for many reasons and why we can react as opposed to respond. And I'm going to give you a few scenarios, a theoretical breakdown on why we may behave this way and how we can change from reacting to responding. So step one potentially could be a scenario I've already discussed where your friend has said they want to go in the gym, or you're a leader in business. Somebody's told you they want to achieve XYZ income. They want to change their life. They want to be able to travel. They want to be able to go out and live this dream. They want to become a consistent content creator, and maybe they're asking you for advice how to do so, and you're providing with this advice. They're not listening to you. They're not taking action, and every time they come back to you with a problem, seeking more problems as opposed to seeking solutions. They will bring the problem to you and they will not be seeking a solution at all. They just want to complain how hard it is and about how tough it is. And you can then again take the responsibility away from them by reacting to what they're saying, by being in a state of frustration and telling them, if you just listen to me, you will achieve this, meaning you want them to win more than themselves. Another scenario could potentially be where you fall in love with the potential that somebody has, but they may not see it themselves. Where you may be in a situation with somebody, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in business or even with just a friend in the gym, as the example I've already used, where you will say, I know what this can become if we just do this. I know that this can become something beautiful. I know that we can go out and achieve amazing things in business together. We can grow. We can go and change the world. We can change our lives, however big your dreams and aspirations are. And you will then put that responsibility on somebody else. And then you will show a level of frustration towards them when they are not living up to the expectations you set upon them, but they can't even see it themselves yet. Why does that make us react as opposed to respond? Because we believe that people should be able to see what we can see. We expect people to share the same vision as us when they don't even have it for themselves yet. So what do we need to do? Instead of reacting to this situation with frustration and telling them why they should do this and why they should do that, and almost having a level of resentment towards them when they haven't even asked for the support in the first place. But we know that this person has amazing potential. We know that something could grow and become an amazing experience, and we could go out and we could achieve great things together if you just leveled up. But that person may not be asking for that guidance. And this is something that goes out to leaders that are listening to this. If you have an organization, or if you're running a business, or you're working with people and you feel obliged obliged to help take people from where they are to where they want to get to, and they're not actually asking you to do so, or they're not showing that level of commitment, you have to learn how to respond in these situations, because the way you behave towards them is the way that they are going to take it. They're going to receive it as frustration, and that's going to send them even further away from the end destination that you're trying to help them achieve. Because if somebody cannot see right now what the end goal could even look like, they haven't expanded their mind or learned how to tap into their imagination with such depth and detail that they can't even perceive what it is you are seeing for them, then they're going to be sat there more so confused than they are being in a state of inaction. They don't understand how to do it. And when they're being treated with a person that reacts to the way that they're being spoken to as opposed to responds to a situation, the emotional intelligence is going to create a clear boundary, and it is going to end up causing you to lose out on so many great relationships, on so many business opportunities. It's going to end up destroying your own potential because you've fallen in love with the potential of somebody else that they're not even aware of yet. And a third potential scenario can be almost from a selfish perspective, where we see somebody come into, again, I'll use business as the example, and we think this person can go out and they can make it happen. They told me that they know X amount of people. They told me that they have X skills, X abilities, that they're able to go out and they're going to be able to crush it and dominate in my field, and that is going to contribute to my success. If these people go out and they do the work they claim they have the ability to do, or they're claiming they desire to do, what impact can that have on my life? And we'll emotionalize ourselves with what the future could look like if this person performs. When they don't live up to that expectation, you can take it from a selfish standpoint, where it's like, I need you to work better. I need you to become better to increase my quality of life. So then you are again taking the responsibility away from yourself, and you're now putting responsibility on somebody else to go out and achieve your dreams and goals for you, because you are expecting somebody to go out and do the work. So how could that have anything to do with reacting and responding? Again, if the person doesn't know what they need to do and they're not living up to their expectations, as a leader, this is me speaking to leaders that are watching this, and whether you are a leader in business or you're a leader at work, or even if you are a leader of self, if you have a family, you are a leader of your family. We are all leaders in some way, shape or form, because we have to lead ourselves through life. So even if this is how you deal with things on your own, these are the standards that you hold yourself to. If somebody isn't living up to the standard you have set or the expectation you have set, then simply do not give your time and energy to that person anymore, because what it ends up doing is you start dissipating and saturating the level of energy you have to give to people that actually want to take your advice, and they will go away and they will come back with an expected result. So why could this be a reflection of your level of emotional intelligence just based off the way you respond to certain situations? Because what can happen is, again, why we get so emotional and why someone with a low level of emotional intelligence will react in that way is because they are thinking of what it has cost them when they have put this into another individual. Because you've put your time, you've put your energy, you've put maybe even a financial investment into somebody, and they're not living up to the standard you that expected them to do. So what someone with a high level of emotional intelligence will do is understand, this is not the type of person I want to work with. This is not the type of person I want to be in a relationship with. This is not the type of person I want to be friends with, that can't stick to their word after they said they made a committed decision to grow, or they made a committed decision to make something happen, and they can't stick to their word. They're consistent at everything. We are all highly consistent people, but we're all consistent at different things. Some people are consistent at doing the right things and contributing to their growth, and other people are consistent at lazing around and doing nothing with their time. There's no such thing as inconsistency. It just depends on where you are going to be consistent in. What area are you consistent in? But all of this information is useless without application. So what is it we need to do here? We need to understand what is the trigger, what makes us behave and react to these situations. What is it that causes us to feel a level of frustration or maybe even a level of resentment towards these people? These things are symptoms, are emotions that we are then portraying out into the world. We are expelling out into the world. What is it that is causing this issue? What is the symptom? The only way that we can cure the symptoms is to find out the actual cause and cure the cause, because if we don't fix that, the symptoms are going to continue to show up again and again. So this is where personal development is key, and being able to establish, okay, when this scenario happens, this is how it makes me feel. How can I work on that and get better at behaving in a better way when this situation arises again? And when the time goes on and you are starting to be more aware of the way you behave, of the way that you actually respond or react in these situations, what then can happen is you now have tapped into the level of awareness you need to have the ability to grow. Because without having the know-how, without knowing what the actual cause is, or being even aware that there is an issue, you cannot fix it. You cannot fix something that you do not even know is broken. And what can happen from a spiritual perspective, whether you believe in the universe, God, higher power, whether you're an atheist, whatever it is, what will happen time and time again in your life is you will go through a series of repetitive actions, of what we can call tests. And when we have these tests continue to show up again and again, you're going to be tested time and time again until you finally pass and prove you're ready to move to the next level. And what do I mean by that? Is if you're going to continue to go around the same cycle over and over, allow the same things to continue to trigger you, the same situations to happen over and over, and you can sit there and question, why does this keep happening? Why am I not able to move on? Why am I not growing from this? Because you're not aware right now of what the actual problem is. So by sitting down and breaking down the whole process of a situation you've been in, maybe once, maybe twice, something that you can recognize there's a pattern there, and say, I have noticed that when X happens, I react with Y. How can I change that to be able to now respond from a point of a higher knowing, a point from higher level of emotional intelligence? Instead of acting with frustration, acting with my emotions, how can I respond in a professional manner? And how can I actually embody the greatness I claim to have in myself to be able to communicate with this person and not escalate a situation that doesn't need to go further? Because you can actually end up damaging something that is not needed to break because somebody doesn't fully understand what it is you're trying to teach them. They don't understand what your time is worth or what your value really is. So for you to be able to then guide that person, you need to be able to turn up with a cool head, level-headed, and be professional in that situation. So when we understand what the cycle is and how we can then break the cycle, we are no longer going to go through the same situation. What is that then going to do? That's going to enable us to be better communicators, to work with people better, and also to not feel such high levels of frustration, to never have to sit there and question, why do I always seem to work with people that don't want to make it happen? Why do I always seem to attract people that claim they want one thing but then they show another? Why do I always seem to attract people and relationships in my life where people say they want to live a life a certain way and they want to do certain things, but then their actions are constantly contradicting their words? Their actions are betraying their words. Why is that? And that can be because of the way you are actually being in that situation. It's not always about the other person. It can feel like you're constantly attracting them, but what is happening is you have pattern recognition on that exact scenario. You have pattern recognition on that cycle. So when you see it and you start projecting, oh, this is what the last person did last time, so I'm expecting them to do this, there is no way you can grow from that because you're almost anticipating things to go wrong. So the only way that you can now have a level of internal growth and see the cycle change and break that cycle is for you to turn up as somebody different. So like I mentioned, we need to break down exactly what it is in these situations, in these scenarios, in this cycle that is making you behave in that way. And then when your emotional intelligence levels up and then you are able to act from a higher state of being, then you're going to be able to move on into the next part of your journey. But now let's use foresight, and we can now understand how things can look once you operate from a higher state of EQ, and you can now lead from the front with a level of personal development behind the way that you are operating. So what can happen first of all, and what result you can expect to see first, is the level of emotion you turn up with is going to be significantly decreased. You're going to be in more control of how you think and how you feel. But now let me explain how you need to actually lead and show up as a person that can provide insights and provide value to other people. First of all, you need to set clear boundaries. You need to let people know that this is the information I can provide you. I expect a result and for you to utilize what I provide you because I know it works. And by you taking this information and taking action, you are showing me through your actions, not through your words, that you are serious about this. You are serious about making a change, about growth, about whatever it is. You are showing me you are committed to making it happen by applying the information I give you through your actions, not through your words. And if the scenario I gave where I said that you feel like you want people to win because of the contribution it will give to you and you're almost acting from a selfish situation, then you need to lead for other people's benefits, not just your own. Don't think, what can I gain out of this if this person maximizes their output? What can I benefit from if they go and take this action? Because then you are not leading. It is a form of manipulation. It is a form of, you will go out and do what I say to do because that way I'm going to be able to grow off of your growth. Look at what you can gain out of somebody else's growth. That is manipulation. That is not leadership. And this one is most definitely one that hits home most for me, because I have always fallen in love with people's potential, and that used to affect me as a leader, because I would say, why can't people just see what they can become? Why can't people just know that if they do X, Y, Z, they're going to live life the way they want to? And that was how I used to operate. This is how I understand these principles, because before I used to react to situations where someone would say to me, hey man, I want to be able to travel, I want to be able to make money online, I want to be able to live life and achieve my dreams and goals, and I'm someone that is always embodying these insights. I live my life the way that I'm showing on this channel. And when people wouldn't take that and apply that, that would bother me. And I would react to it and ask them, are you sure you really want this? But what I've learned to do now is meet people where they are at, not just for the benefit of themselves, but also for the benefit of my relationship with them, also for my position as a leader, but also for my own well-being and for my own energy. Because if I'm constantly giving energy to something that technically doesn't exist, because I'm giving my energy to a future version of somebody and expecting someone who hasn't been through the trials, tribulations, through any pain, overcome any endeavor, overcome any kind of adversity yet, to be able to grow through a situation, I'm trying to push onto them who they can be, because I can see it already clearly, and they're not there yet. They're not ready because they haven't had to do the development at this point. So what I've had to do as a leader is sit back and understand, this is where this person is at. I know where they can go. It's down to me to meet them where they're at and guide them to that final point. So if you are a leader watching this and you understand and you can resonate with the idea of falling in love with people's potential and wishing they could just live up to what they're able to become, understand that when you are pushing people from a place they're not yet at, you cannot lead them to a place they are unaware of they can go. Those people that are ready to rise to the standards and they are ready to perform and they do go out and receive orders and they come back with a result, those people will self-select themselves. They will show you through their embodiment of the information you've provided them that they are the type of person they are worth investing your time and energy into. They will select themselves for you. And if you was able to resonate with this video, please share it with 2 people that you love and care about. Please like and subscribe to the channel, as I will be providing more value as we continue on with this journey. And remember, the trigger is the teacher. When you stop trying to change others and you change your expectations, everything will shift. See you in the next one.